1 second. Hold up. At first, I was like, ooh, like I kind of, oh. Mm. Well, I guess it is what it is. I was going to, I take up so much of the screen. I'm like, I need a little distance. It's fine. I'll just, I'll just go with it. I feel like you see that I have not been sleeping. I feel like my eyes are puffy. Also, my allergies have been acting up. It's been hot and cold and hot and cold and really rainy, so grass is constantly being cut. Anyway, that's all besides the point. This is how I'm showing up today. This video is not sponsored. I wish I could take this off. This is not a sponsored video. So today, I'm going to do that thing that I do sometimes when there's a transit. I feel like Venus just went into Taurus. Like, I feel like I saw that notification earlier today. If Venus didn't just go into Taurus, Venus is going to be moving into Taurus soon. But anyway, we're going to look at the sun. Sun transiting into Taurus. I'm going to do 3 cards from Aries season and beyond. Well, 3 cards from Aries season / Aries season and beyond. A card for Taurus season thus far, since we're already into Taurus season, and then 3 cards for the energy of Taurus season overall. That's interesting. We'll see if it comes out. I'm going to be using the SKT like I usually do. I'm going to use the Vitruvian edition for the previous season. Oh, wow. That's a whole bunch of cards. I'm going to use the Vitruvian edition for the previous season, which is the sepia toned edition. And then I'm going to use the Revelations edition for the current season, Taurus season. Bottom of the deck is Bread of Life. What's that? The Darkening? Ace of Pentacles. We have 3, 5, 8 cards that came out. Oh. So the first 2 cards are the Corruptor and the Destroyer, which I love. I feel like I've seen this card before. I'm sorry, I'm trying to, it's fine. My setup has changed a little bit. Not really. I just moved the cords around and now the cord isn't, it's like, but if I touch it, I might lose audio. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know why I'm a little particular today. The Corruptor and the Destroyer came out together. The Corruptor and the SKT Revelations is basically a no-win situation. Each one of these cups is connected to one of the 7 deadly sins. And then right after that is the Destroyer. So it's like the destruction of corruption, which love it. And then we have the Bereaved, which is that Isis energy that comes out like all the time in this deck. I feel like last time, I remember mentioning not seeing Isis in the Bereaved recently. But this is like the rebirth, right? The Corruptor, the Destroyer, and then the Bereaved. But Isis is the one that resurrects. And then after that, we have the Keeper and the Sacred Cinnabar. And Sacred Cinnabar is the consummating. And then after that It's gifts of the spirit with the healer, the star. So there's this really interesting series of cards. Like it's almost like there was something that it's like a reboot. Um, if you update your computer or if you're having issues with something, it's like you turn it off and turn it back on. Or like if there is some kind of like malware, you like run your firewall, you run a program to purge the system, and then you reboot it, and then it boots back up like new or better. The consummating with the gifts of the spirit is interesting because like the consummating is giving me like conjugal visits, you know. You can like consummate a marriage. Yes, to make something complete by having sexual intercourse. I just wanted to make sure, like consummating a marriage, but it's like consummating a spiritual sort of like internal thing. So we have the gifts of the spirit that are now, there's like almost like a christening type. Like I feel like I'm struggling for words, and I hope y'all can like hear what it is that I'm trying to say, because it's almost like it's one thing to open up to a new gift, or it's one thing to be to utilize your gifts, but because it's partnered with that consummating, it just gives it so it's like so intimate and intertwined and intermingled, and it feels like it roots deeper or it anchors in a different way. It's almost like it like rewrites DNA or something like that. Like there's a way to go about, it's like on one hand, like to get a gift and to be in the operation of those gifts can be like dyeing your hair. Like that would be like dyeing your hair. This is like your natural hair color changing. Like you go from a brunette to a blonde. And it's no dye because it'll grow from the root this new blonde color. Like that's the level of whatever this is was. And then we have the ferryman and the empress. Now the ferryman, Six of Swords, I also like comes out so often. And then the empress is right there. Now I guess this I shouldn't be surprised by because I was just thinking about that earlier today. Um, because the last time I went live, was that? No, I don't know. That one time I went live and I used the water gnome, animal spirits, and tarot. And there was like the swan and whatever the other card was that came in and like pushed those other cards up. And it was that energy of like Venus is emerging complete because she went so far internal that now she's like external, but she doesn't like Venus isn't emerging as masculine energy. She's emerging as whole because she's integrated it. So somewhere in that process, it's almost like if you black box it, where and to black box something is like to to how do I describe it? So you can black box something. Let's say you have like a process flow diagram and you're looking at your inputs and your outputs. When you black box something, you almost don't look at what's going on inside of it. You just look at what comes in and what goes out. And so if we black box that, Venus emerges as Taurus, like purely the feminine aspect. She enters as Taurus, purely feminine, and she emerges as this whole Venus. So somewhere within the black box, not only did she like heal, introspect her feminine, her masculine also emerged, healed in that black box, because what we see come out is like a whole. And it's like, well, where did this whole other half come from? It happens in the black box. Now, what's interesting is, I mean, I guess we don't have to subtract, but if we take 3 swords away from the 10 swords, that's 7 of swords. Excuse me, the 7 of swords came out when I used those cards. I feel like I used them 2 different times now. No, that was the same reading. The 7 of swords in the Wild Unknown Tarot is my card of birthright. And so it's almost like that's what happened in between the 10 and the 3. 7 of those swords were removed. And then we have this Ace of Swords here. And then the 6 of Swords. 3, 1, 6 is 10. So then these so it would look like this. It would look like this. I know you can't see this, but you know what? Oh, I'm not on my laptop. Never mind. I was going to take a picture of it and put it on the screen, but I'm not on my laptop, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Sorry. So basically it's 2 cards for, I can take a picture and show you the picture. You're going to see my shadow, but that's fine. I don't have time to, or the desire. I don't have the desire right now to. So it's like that. We have the 10 of swords on the left, the 3 of swords on the right, and then we have the 7 plucked swords in the middle. And I put the card after the Ace of Swords and the card after the 6 of Swords. So that square, this square, would almost be the black box, like inside of the black box. So our input would be the corruptor and the 10 of swords, the destroyer. Our output would be the bereaved and the keeper. And then in the middle, in that black box, there is this process. Yes. And then, of course, the breath of life, Ace of Pentacles, is at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upload that to the community page. And that's what it'll be, one of those, take it as it resonates. And I'm going to get into what I got on here for. So also, I have devised a way to see what this Cancerian energy is. And I have one more booster pack of Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering cards, and I think that's it. I mean, am I going to read Venus and Taurus? Maybe it'll come out. I mean, this is happening in Taurus season. There was the Holy See, which is the Hierophant, which is Taurus. And then there is, what was that? The World, New World Order. There's the Rogue, the Seven of Swords. Like, I'm not looking for cards. I'm just trying to shuffle this right now. But these are like revealing themselves. Well, the Eminence Nine of Pentacles just came out on the table with the Convalescent Four of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to put these in the middle. And then I'm going to cut and shuffle. There we go. I've already shuffled the Revelations edition, but I'm going to shuffle it a little more. And then we'll just see what is up. We will see what is up. All right, one more. Cut it. All right. So, Aries season, 3 cards. If I get 3, I will take it as 3. If I get any number that's not 3, then I'll do it like first, second, third. So, Aries season. First card is Moon in Cancer, the Hollow Void. Sorry about that. The Hollow Void, 4 of Cups. This is Moon in Cancer. Is this like just supposed to be whatever this mysterious Cancer energy is right now? That's part of Aries season. The Hollow Void, Moon in Cancer. There's also the Scorpion up in the tree. Now, what, 2, 3, 4? So this isn't even the Scorpionic Decan of Cancer. This isn't even the Scorpionic Decan of Cancer. That's the Piscean Decan. There's something here. This meditation, this is bringing the cup in. It's like the more zen or whatever this person is, the closer the cup gets. And I don't necessarily often feel it that way. I'm gonna immediately look before and after the Hollow Void because I am very intrigued. I mean, or should I just honor it? Like it's literally giving me Moon in Cancer, like Moon energy around whatever this Cancerian energy that's been like popping up a lot lately. I wasn't gonna necessarily do both of those in the same video. I'm not gonna do it. And so now I'm like, do I honor the mystery? I'm doing it. Looking before and after. And look, one of the cards is the Nine of Pentacles. The same 9. Well, it's in a different deck, but the Nine of Pentacles did fall onto the table. It came out. When I was like, oh, these cards flipped over in the deck, but I'm not going to take them, that one like fell out of the deck. And I still didn't take it. So, but I mean, it's here now. So the Hollow Void is in between the 8 of Wands and the 9 of Pentacles, the sharpshooter and the eminence. I don't usually feel Isis from this eminence, but she's given Isis today. Venus and Mercury, Venus in Virgo, Mercury in Sagittarius. Venus square Mercury. I'm going to do this. I'll do it this way. I'm going to put the hollow void back in the deck. I'm going to leave the significators in the deck. The moon just came out with the champion at the bottom of the deck. The Six of Wands, that comes out like all the time. The Six of Wands came out. It was the Six of Wands and the moon came out, actually. It was, I think it was the Archangel of Mysteries, the Destroyer, the Champion, and the Necromancer, which is the moon, the Ten of Swords, the Six of Wands, which is the King of Pentacles. But I like the Archangel of Mysteries, the Ten of Swords, the Six of Wands, and the moon. And it was this one where Anubis holds the scales. And I was like, I love this energy because we go through that opportunity to make our heart lighter in whatever way before it's weighed against the scale. Because the Ten of Swords and the Six of Wands came out before the scales. So it seems like in some way, whatever needed to happen or whatever was going to happen has happened. And it feels like a lot of it takes place inside that black box. I'm going to put this back. Well, I think there's two also, because the moon is here. It is giving me, it's just like clarifying that like there's something unknown or something very almost hush. And then there's the Archangel of Mysteries. Yeah, there's something. I'm like, there's something like unknown and hush, and then the Archangel of Mysteries is there. With whatever this Cancerian energy is, and I was thinking about it when I was at the gym. I'll try to do it, but Cancerian energy, it could be like fourth house energy. So like 4 houses from 4 signs from something, or in the home of whatever. Can I do that here? No. Yes. 1, 4, 7, 10. You're going to get all the signs 1, 4, 7, 10, 2, 5, 8, 11, 3, 6, 9, 12. It's the same modality. So 4th house energy is going to give you the same modality as the 1st house. And we have this mutable modality that's coming out. Now, if we are on the Gemini ascendant, then Virgo would be the 4th house, like Cancerian type energy. If we are on the Piscean ascendant, then Gemini would be the 4th house. If we're on the Sagittarius ascendant, Pisces would be the fourth house. And then if we're on the Virgo ascendant, Sagittarius would be the 4th house. But regardless, it's a square. I'm not surprised that it's a square. So that could be an energy of like an opportunity that hides within a challenge, which would also be this sort of energy. The more centered, grounded, at peace someone is, the closer this Ace of Cups opportunity can come. But also simultaneously, there's this death and rebirth Scorpion. We also saw death and rebirth literally with the Ten of Swords and the Three of Swords in this deck, because you had the Destroyer and then you have Isis, the Resurrector. Now, what's interesting is the Scorpion is on the branch of this tree, and there was that energy of like the branches of the world tree like falling or something. Something was happening with the Idrisil world tree where realms were being or whatever. But that's also here iconically. Is that iconographically? Is that a word? And the iconography, if I'm even using that right, symbolically, girl, just say symbolically, metaphorically. Did I hear that? It wasn't that funny. I'm kidding. And it feels like, because it's that, this is interesting. If it came out this way, I would say it feels like the opportunity that lies within this challenge is a shortcut to or an accelerator for success. But it came out this way, which means that the Nine of Pentacles is at the back of this archer. This is the foundation for the momentum. Now, if all of that Venus stuff, Venus and Virgo, Mercury in Sagittarius. I just talked about Virgo. I feel like we saw the Four of Cups with the Five of Swords in the Fable Makers animated tarot. And there was something that was going on internally that was having external 3D manifested real world effects, which we also saw thematically in the deck dungeon. In this alternate dimension, there are foes and challenges that you overcome. When you defeat them in this alternate dimension, their bodies appear in the real world. And then again, it was that energy of like the one who exists without internal conflict, like someone's stability within self. Again, like that's the thing that magnetizes or that brings in this opportunity. It's just shown differently here. This isn't a shortcut to the Nine of Pentacles, or this isn't reading like something that accelerates us to this Nine of Pentacles point. It's because we're in the Nine of Pentacles that we're like massively accelerating. But that also came out, I feel it was within Aries season. So, and this is like this is the first thing that Aries season brought. So accurate. What was it? It came out somewhere. I remember saying it. I don't remember. Or something very, very similar to it. Because I can feel the link to something, but I can't remember exactly. Oh, that was the Unseen Now. That was the Eight of Swords. And that may have actually come up in Pisces season, because that was a minute ago. And that was like, no, because this came out, it's been sort of coming out since it first came out, because I feel like that did, like where our energy aligns things, it's very much that. We're sitting at the Nine of Pentacles, the eminence, internally. And because that's what we sit at, it goes before us and rearranges certain experiences or aligns certain experiences in a way. Now, when we encounter them, of course, things can play out differently, right? It's no different. It's not necessarily different than you watch somebody online or on the movie screen. And maybe there's a certain piece of their persona or their personality that you constantly get, or maybe there's a certain type of character that an actor always plays. So when you meet them in real life, you expect them to be a certain way, and maybe they are, and maybe they're not. It's like that. Second thing that Aries season delivered. Interesting. The Defector, Saturn and Pisces. Aries season did have Saturn and Pisces. No. Well, I don't have my iPad. I was like, we have enough for a date. While Saturn was in Pisces and the moon was in Cancer. Now, Saturn's been in Pisces for a minute. So we've had many moons in Cancer. Unless we get another card that'll lock it down. Saturn is still in Pisces. When Saturn was in Pisces and the moon was in Cancer in Aries season, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go get my iPad. We're going to try to find a day. We're not going to try. We are. I'm going to find it. Now, if I had a moon calendar. Oh, wow. The moon is in Capricorn right now. Right now, the moon is in Capricorn. So this is a lunar opposition. Moon in Cancer. So if the moon is in Capricorn, there are roughly 28 days in a lunar month. So 14 days ago should have been, should be close to moon in Cancer. And it is 14 days ago was 15. So between April 13th and April 15th, we had in Aries season, Saturn in Pisces, moon in Cancer. I love doing that. Okay. Interesting. So between April 13th and 14th, 13th and 15th. And I'm like, let me look at my calendar. What was that? The days blend together. So, oh, that's a weekend. I don't know. That's the time period. Now, we've also seen the Eight of Cups also in the Fable Maker's Tarot because we saw the water moving and it was someone following someone walking in the same direction that the, 1 second. Oh, never mind. Oop. Uno momento, por favor. It's fine. Okay. That's enough. In the picture, in the Empress, we saw this bird. And I looked at this bird. I was like, what's going on with this bird? I didn't know. It had not yet revealed what was going on with it. No, not the Empress. Where was it? It was in the star. You see that bird in the star? We have that. Oh, and I guess this is the moon. It feels like it's the same bird in this Eight of Cups. This, it feels like this person is going to meet the star. Like it feels like this is where the water ends. That's where the river, like that's what the river leads to. And again, we have this moon here with some kind of symbol that I don't know. It's also interesting because I mentioned how there's no connection to Pisces. I mentioned how interesting it is that this is like corresponds to a decan of Cancer. This corresponds to the sign of Cancer. And we see the scorpion with the reference to Scorpio, but there's no Pisces. And then we get Saturn and Pisces as the second thing. Every now and then my TV will change channels. And right now it's on a Scorpion channel. I guess it's a show. My mom was like, "Oh, I love this show. I used to watch it." I was like, "I didn't know it was a show." And then we have the scorpion in the tree. As far as I know, it's like a crime solver, whatever, and they're like geniuses. They're geniuses who solve crimes. See, I don't want to look before and after every single card. So I guess I won't. But I could in the same deck. I'm going to get the third card. Actually, I won't. Oh, well, there it is. So I guess I will. Oh, three of them. Okay. The third card is three cards. I'm going to look before and after the star. And there's the star. So the star is the fifth card from the bottom of the deck. The star is in between the title card and the Seven of Swords, the rogue. The Seven of Swords is Moon in Aquarius. The star is Aquarius. So it's almost like there are things that we know have happened, and there are things that we don't know. We have the moon is like all over this, or the energy of the moon is like all over this. But what was that? That was like blossoming. That wasn't Taurus season. I feel like it was related to a transit. No, that was Angels and Alchemy. Angels and Alchemy is what it was. And it was that energy. It was the angel of dreams and the angel of Taurus. So yeah, it is like Taurus season. I was like, not necessarily, but it was like the angel of Taurus. I was like, it could be related to Taurus season. But there was an energy of like something blossoming in Taurus season that took root in the past, even if the past is like a day or a week ago, like Aries season or before. But we're going to see it in Taurus season. The star is an angel, and it's the title card in the Seven of Swords. The title card is my live life and find out card. So it's almost like maybe we lived life and we thought that one thing was sort of happening. With the Seven of Swords, it could have been disappointing. But maybe now it's almost like if something didn't work out, it didn't work out for a reason. And it's almost like if we would have taken this one opportunity, we wouldn't have been available for this other thing that's going to come up that we're really going to love. And so what may have potentially started as a disappointment is going to work out to be like a blessing. It's the energy of blessings in disguise, high key. Then on the other side, so before these three cards, the bottom three were the grotesque, the priestess, and the dark horse. Five of Cups, the high priestess, and the Seven of Wands, which is Mars and Scorpio, the moon, Mars and Leo. This is why I'm like, and then we have Aquarius and moon and Aquarius, moon and Cancer. On the Eight of Cups, we have this big old moon. Like there's so much, it feels like, that was partially revealed. Even just like looking at these cards is interesting. Because the Five of Cups, I guess I'll come this close then. The Five of Cups and the Seven of Wands, very similar. Girl, I don't have time today. We are demystifying whatever is going on because I don't. All right. I'm forcing it to focus today because that's the energy, I guess. We're forcing it to focus, which is interesting because focus is the skill of a character that my brother, like I've been playing video games with my brother, and focus is like this skill that anyway. Now the grotesque is interesting because of what the grotesque in this means. The grotesque is the part and piece of the divine. Okay. The grotesque is the part and piece of the divine within us that sometimes separates us or isolates us for whatever reason from others, so we may hide it away. And then the Seven of Wands, the dark horse. The dark horse is like the underdog, the one that people sort of count out. Now, I guess it was the mission. The high priestess is the sanctuary of Isis. We've already seen Isis associated with the energy of the Seven of Swords in the black box. Or with the cards that we saw earlier. This is the sanctuary of Isis, so I'm assuming this is where the magic happens. Something goes in, Five of Cups, the magic of Isis happens, and then it emerges as this dark horse. This could be something of like radical self acceptance. We saw an intimate mingling of these gifts of the spirit. So I wouldn't be surprised. This is like it's like if there's a person that someone is being intimate with, it's like being intimate with that person when they lack self-confidence or when they don't feel comfortable in their body is like completely different than being intimate with the same person when they have that confidence and that comfort in their body, because they're going to be more in tune with their own body while two different bodies are like consummating whatever is being consummated type energy. The dynasty, the Ten of Pentacles, is after the Ten of Pentacles, 10, 11, and the Archangel Commander and the Archangel of Glory. Okay. Ten of Pentacles and Justice. The Dynasty and the Chancellor. Angel of Justice and the Ten of Orbs. It's interesting. I'm like trying to stay like semi-focused. I lost it. It's interesting because this is where Deant kept coming out. I just used the Angelarium. It was actually an Angelarium Oracles of the Oracle of Emanations. The Void came out. It was like at the bottom of the deck or something, and I mentioned it. I don't remember what was going on with the Void, but that was more angels. There's the angels in alchemy, and then there were the angels in the Angelarium. But you can see that this void isn't hollow. This void isn't empty. And I thought of this in particular when I read The Hollow Void. But again, there's something, this is someone who's making a void space fertile. Or at some point, and maybe that has something to do with the scorpion up in the branch in the tree. Something that was once barren, something that was once hollow is now fertile. And justice is behind that 10 of orbs. Something is blooming in that void space because it has the right to, or because it is earned, or because it is observed. And behind justice, again, is the Archangel Commander. The Archangel Commander is the one that teaches us how to use our power. Now, I guess it shouldn't be lost on me that we literally just saw in whatever cards, in the Mystical Mondays, there was the King of Wands, and there was that energy of something that is sustained with our light. There are things that are sustained by the universe at large, according to the machinations of the divine. And there are some things that the machination as is not, it's like it doesn't have to support, because it's not necessarily designed to. But the spark of the divine within us is the light that supports those things. The Archangel Commander is the one that teaches us how to wield that spark. And so if the energy of justice is here with the void that is no longer hollow, it's because, again, like it sort of fits. And then the Holy See, the Hierophant, is right there. Behind the Hierophant is the Golden Shield and the Archangel of Glory with New World Order. So there's this shield right after the Hierophant. To me, I can see it both ways. I can see this both as something that the Hierophant doesn't necessarily talk about or teach, but also simultaneously it's something that the Hierophant doesn't even necessarily have the information anyway. So it could be someone who restricts information because they don't have that information, but rather than their knowing seeming incomplete, they'd rather put on a facade that they know something that they don't. Like someone, it's basically like the Hierophant's like, oh, I know the secret, but I'm not going to tell you. I may give you riddles and put you through this series of initiations only for you to whatever, but I'll never tell you. And it's like, well, that's because the Hierophant itself doesn't know. But then we have the Archangel of Glory right behind it with this Archangel Commander right here. And again, the Seven of Swords is my card of birthright. Birthright being those things related to the spark of the divine within us. Also, it's not lost on me that New World Order, the Discerning One, and the Necromancer. And then I see the Ivory Shield girl. The Warrior is behind the Necromancer. The Moon and Sun. Excuse me, literally right next to each other. So after the Archangel of Glory is New World Order, the Discerning One, Two of Wands, the Moon, the Necromancer, the Warrior of the Sun. Cool. I'm just going to leave it there. I'm going to put the star back. So we have a signifier of birthright, a signifier of things withheld. This is, again, it's almost like that Hierophant. It's almost like this could be something that's a matter of clearance or confidentiality. Specifically because it's the title card, because it's my live life and find out card. It would be like seeing the High Priestess with the Seven of Swords, and I guess not necessarily taking it as a forced negative will of life, as a forced negative connotation. Right? Like, not basically, well, I guess either way it's keeping secrets, but there are some secrets that are kept for our own good. Now, we've seen the mature tree in the forest, but also there was that energy of like the things that we don't tell children because it's not for a child to like know or to go through or to experience. Now, unfortunately, there are children who are forced to grow up really quickly, who are placed in situations that a child should never be placed in. But that's not this energy. And so it will be withheld if we don't have, and it was like a matter of capacity. This is almost, I wish I didn't put this, I already put the star back. This person is waking up the star. Like that's the angel in the star card who was pouring the water. Like there's the land and the water with the lily pad. Ace of Swords, Six of Swords. That's literally the breakdown that we got. It was the Ace of Swords, Sacred Cinnabar, and the Six of Swords, the Quester. It could have been the 2 and 5 or the 3 and 4, but it was the 1 and 6 to make the 7. This Ace of Swords wakes up that Six of Swords. Now, again, if it would have come out this way, maybe we would wake the sleeping giant and then discover something that we didn't know, something that hides behind the title card, but it came out this way. Because it came out this way, it's giving me an energy of like, we don't know what necessarily wakes up that sleeping angel. I don't know why I was thinking about that, but I think I was thinking about it maybe yesterday, maybe last night. No, it was yesterday or the day before. Enoch and Metatron, and how I left it at like uh Metatron doesn't know why God chose him to. Metatron doesn't know necessarily what about Enoch gave Metatron like the right to exist. Metatron doesn't know why Enoch was chosen. Metatron and Enoch are like the same person here, at the very least, girl. And it's not a new sentiment. So it's not like Metatron can talk to Enoch and be like, Enoch, this is what you need to do in order to become Metatron. Because Metatron doesn't know why God chose Enoch, or Metatron doesn't know why Enoch ascended. And so it's more so an energy of like, there are no shortcuts. It isn't necessarily like written somewhere. It's not like, oh, if I do this, this, and this, then I will be granted access to a greater whatever. Like that was the energy behind it. And so we just live life, we show up, we do our best, and maybe. But I mean, we did see the Archangel Commander. The Archangel Commander is a pretty good indicator of like, because that's literally the Archangel Commander's purpose. Not its purpose. That's how the Archangel Commander came forward in this deck in particular to like help or assist. It assists us in coming into our own power. And once we come into our own, there's like the second trial. That's not a trial, but it's like, how do you use your power? What do you do with it? Right. And depending on what you do with it, maybe you will be given more. I don't know. Ask the archangels, don't ask me. Ask the divine within you, don't ask me. So yeah, here it's basically like we're not told what will wake this angel up. All we know is that, or all I can sort of glean is that this set of words is the angel when she's asleep. And like that's the angel when she's asleep. This is the person trying to wake the angel. We don't know what is actually going to wake them. But I mean, it's probably a part of this journey because again, those two cards are clarifying this. This bird probably knows, or maybe it's the bird. Maybe this is like the Legend of Zelda. I think that was Ocarina. No, that might have actually been Majora's Mask. That's the one I didn't play, which is interesting because the Lost Woods from Ocarina of Time, like the song popped into my mind when I was live recently. It's the guy, Zelda, Cuckoo, waking up. The Lon Lon Ranch guy. What game is this? It is Ocarina of Time. Okay, this is the same game where the do 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 the Lost Woods popped into my mind. So there's a guy who's like asleep, and I'll just read this. So, how to wake up the Lon Lon Ranch guy? Talk to her, and she'll give you a weird egg. Set it in inventory. Set it into an inventory slot and make your way to the sleeping Talon, which is the guy. After a night cycle, the egg will hatch into a chicken you can use to wake him up. Then, after learning Zelda's lullaby, go back to the ranch and you can learn upon a song, get a bottle, and a heart piece. Somebody gives you the egg, you use the chicken to wake the man up. It was basically that. The egg hatches into a cuckoo, and then the cuckoo wakes the man up. It's the bird and the 8 of Cups that is going to wake her up. There were birds in New World. I saw New World Order when I was like shuffling. Maybe it like flipped over or something. I already shuffled the deck, so I can't I can't pull it out again. Cool. So our last card is Mars in Pisces. Mars was in Pisces for Aries season, so again, accurate. Stronghold of the Veil, which is the Page of Pentacles, Herald of the Darkening, the Joyous One, Ten of Chalices, and the Shining Flame, Lightning, and the Pyre, Knight of Wands. I already pulled a card for what the message is. The pages and the SKT come with messages or letters. I pulled one before and after the star. It's this card, and there I go, dropping cards again. I dropped it face down. What is it? Am I going to pick it up upright or in reverse? In reverse, the Captor, Eight of Swords. This is interesting because I saw the Captor in the Revelations edition, and in the Revelations edition, it's a lunar eclipse. Jupiter and Gemini. We have Mars and Pisces here. We just saw Mars in Scorpio, Mars in Leo. Six of Wands, the champion, Mars in Leo. No, that's Jupiter in Leo. Was it the Five of Wands? It was the Seven of Wands, Dark Horse, sorry. And there was the Moon with the High Priestess. Now, the Eight of Swords in this deck is an angel held captive. That's an angel. We see that in the angel, which is Temperance, which, much like the star, is pouring. Well, she's not pouring any water out, though. The Temperance pours water from one cup into another. Herald of the Darkening, and then we have the Bound Angel. Which doesn't feel like it's a coincidence. There's a new show, Dead Boy Detectives. I don't know if it's new. I watched the first 5 to 10 minutes on Netflix yesterday, and it said it's in the same universe as The Sandman. Now, I didn't know if that was the Netflix show, which is about Morpheus Dream. Are they not the Eternals? Morpheus Eternals. Dream. Sandman Wiki. The Endless. Sorry, they're the Endless, not the Eternals. And in that show, in Sandman, Morpheus is taken captive. And then we see the captive angel here. But because it's when Morpheus was taken captive, there were many people who went to sleep and did not wake up. And it's it was a very dark time. That's the darkening. There's something that is held captive, or something that is limited access. But we have the Ten of Cups and the Shining Flame after that. This is interesting because this feels like this is reading like we've learned to be happy with the absence of something, or we've learned to be happy. Yeah, we've learned to be happy in absence of something, or like with the lack of something. Excuse me. Jupiter and Gemini is going to happen in this season. May 25th. No, so that's Gemini season. So, can I get some degrees, please? Maybe. I wish I could like go to this show. Yeah, there we go. I love this app. I love this app. Where's the sun? The sun is going to be 5 degrees Gemini, and Venus is going to be 2 degrees Gemini. Wow. So that's going to be a conjunction in between the sun, Venus, and Jupiter, between 0 and 5 degrees of Gemini, opposing Lilith and Sagittarius. Like, where's Black Moon Lilith? I think this one is Black Moon Lilith. Yeah. Excuse me. Lilith is actually retrograding right now. Lilith is at 8 degrees. At the time of that 025 conjunction, Lilith is going to be at 2 degrees. So Lilith is retrograding to more exactly oppose the Sun, Jupiter, and Venus. So anyway, not technically toward it definitely didn't happen in Aries season, but this is a message. This is a letter, right? So this could be like time sensitive. On this day, deliver this letter. So this is actually something in Aries season that's potentially gonna come back up in Gemini season. And again, something about it feels confrontational, not necessarily in a bad way, just in a way of like, it's almost like we have maybe grown comfortable. Again, it's like there's something about finding happiness and joy and wanting that happiness and joy to create further happiness and joy. That's a Knight of Wands that moves with the Ten of Cups at its back, which is probably maybe a little bit different than how we usually see the Knight of Wands. Because that's a Knight of Wands energy that is already fulfilled. Like that's not necessarily a Knight of Wands that is seeking something or that is seeking nothing. Sometimes we don't want much substance in whatever, and that's fine. If that's where we are and if that's what we want, that's where we are and it's what we want. Especially if we're honest about it. But the substance is there, the fulfillment is there. That's happiness and joy that seeks out further happiness and joy. But then there's like this energy where it's almost like it comes back and it's like, oh, Like, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Cool. Two of these feel Aries. This one feels more because it's Aries season again. I mean, it came out in Aries season. It's like just know that something is gonna pop up in between Venus, Jupiter, and the Sun conjuncting in Gemini. So I don't know if it's necessarily one of those. It's gonna be whatever it's gonna be, and I'll leave it at that. On the other hand, though, I think that could be like a happy surprise too. And if that is a happy surprise, I feel like it makes all of that energy even like better. Because again, like this is a Knight of Wands that moves forward from this like happy and fulfilled space. It feels like a pleasant surprise. Feels like it could be on both ends, if there are multiple ends anyway. So what has Taurus season brought us so far? The first thing, or yeah, it's time to move to the next deck. The burdened one and the champion. Being a winner is like so hard. You know what I mean? Like being the champion is like it's a completely different world than like competing to be the champion. You know what I mean? Like once you have the throne, it's like a completely different experience than like playing crown games fighting for the throne. I see the Herald of the Flame and the Archangel of Mysteries. Awaken the Brilliance, Angel who illuminates the shadow. Both of these are cards that we see fairly frequently, especially, well, the Archangel of Mysteries in general. The Herald of the Flame in this deck comes out all the time. What has Taurus season brought thus far? So far. Or what has Taurus season? Yeah, I'll just leave it as it was. What has Taurus season brought thus far? That's fine. I should. Ooh. They like hit the table on their side, so I almost saw the face, but then they like fell face down. We got two cards. I had a thought of like doing it in like this middle sort of row and two because it's already started. But then I was like, if I do it in two, then like I'm already encroaching upon the three at the bottom anyway. So the fact that two cards came out is just like interesting to me. Guess what the first card is that came out? Just guess. Oh, okay. Also, I was going to mention this Jupiter and Gemini energy completing the square for these mutable energies that we have on the table, specifically around the hollow void. But I didn't. It's Pisces, the necromancer, which is the moon. Gateway of resurrection. With the golden shield, sanctum of splendor. There's the solar eclipse in the back. This card came out. I was talking about Column World. That might have been for Aries season. It could have been for Mars and Pisces. It was one of these. I don't remember. I guess I'll pull before and after both of these. The High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. With the Memory Keeper at the cut. Okay. As soon as I started shuffling, 2 cards flipped over, landed in the deck pretty snugly. The Chariot. With that gosh darn Cancer, or maybe it's just the Chariot, but it's reading like both. Yeah, like yes, of course, it's Chariot energy, but it's also feeling like Cancer. And then we have the Destroyer, Ten of Swords, right behind it. Sun in Gemini. Well, Gemini and Cancer are sequential signs. So the Sun is going to transit from Gemini to Cancer. But this Sun in Gemini, and then we have a Jupiter in Gemini. This is like someone who has half of a picture. Someone's like figuring out half of a puzzle. And they treat I'm assuming, yeah, because of the Ten of Pentacles, or because of the Ten of Cups behind the Knight of Wands. It's like Aries season gave someone a completed puzzle. Somebody completed a puzzle in Aries season, and they're moving forward, or they're moving with an energy that is very fulfilled and that it's more positively and keenly focused. Also, Mars is in Pisces, Saturn is in Pisces. So on April 13th to the 15th, Mars was in Pisces during that time. Jupiter wasn't in Gemini, though. Jupiter was in Taurus. Just making sure. I'll do the 14th because it's in the middle. Moon in Cancer. Vesta was in Cancer. What was I looking at? Pisces. Yeah. Mars was at 17 Pisces. Saturn was at 15 Pisces. So they were still like the conjunction was weakening. Mars was like leaving. It was separating, but they're 2 degrees away. So on the 13th, actually, I love Time Nomad. I do. When Mars crossed the Cancer cusp, Saturn was at 14 degrees Pisces. Mars was at 16 degrees Pisces. So the moon would have trined. Did we not see that? We saw that. No. No. That was Pisces Virgo with the stop in Taurus. It was the sextile in Taurus that helps ease the opposition between Pisces and Virgo. But there's nothing in... No, the moon was in Cancer. The moon is the only thing in Cancer besides Vesta for a minute. Let's go to June 23rd. The moon's the only thing that's in Cancer until Mercury enters Cancer. Mercury enters Cancer on June 17th. Venus enters Cancer on June 17th. I didn't know that. So both Mercury and Venus are going to cross into Cancer on the same day. Wow. It looks like the exact conjunction is probably going to happen in Gemini, though. Because on June 17th, Mercury is already 1 degree in a Cancer. So the moon is the only thing besides Vesta, again, that's visiting Cancer until the Sun, Venus, and Mercury enter Cancer within like a week of each other ish. Yeah. From like the 17th to the 20th, 21st. But because this is Sun in Gemini with Cancer, it's almost giving me before the Sun enters Cancer. Mercury is going to enter Cancer first. And then it said it was the same day. On the same day, I think it said like 1:18 a.m. 1:18 a.m. is Venus on the 17th. Mercury is 4:06 a.m. Hold up. My brain is multi. So Venus crosses first, but Mercury is just so fast. So the exact conjunction is going to be in Cancer then at 0 degrees. We had a new moon in Cancer at 0 degrees. Some year. That was the year we had 2 new moons in Cancer. Maybe 2021. I don't know. I don't know if it's necessarily going to go back that far. I guess I don't have to try to correlate 1, 2, 3, 0, 4. I guess I don't have to try to correlate all the times. So I'm going to go to 4 a.m. I know I say it like all the time, but I love time limit. I really do. Yeah. Venus is already in Cancer, like 0 degrees, 8 minutes when Mercury enters Cancer. So they're going to exactly conjunct at 0 degrees of Cancer. So Venus, and within like 3 hours of each other, roughly within 3 hours of each other, Venus and Mercury are going to see what's been happening in Cancer, where the moon has been like the only energy sort of playing into it. And it feels like in those few days or in that time before, like while the sun is still in Gemini, light and truth. Let me look at the rest of the chart. Mars is going to be in Taurus. Uranus is going to be in Taurus. North Node and Chiron are still going to be in Aries. Jupiter and the Sun in Gemini. Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. The Moon in Scorpio. The moon is going to be trining. The moon is going to be, this says 1 degree, 11 minutes. The moon is going to be in Scorpio at 1 degree, trining Venus and Mercury at 0 degrees of Cancer. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius at 1 degree. Saturn at 19 degrees of Pisces, Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. Bottom of the deck is the initiate. New World Order. The convalescent. The eminence. Look, there's the necromancer on the cut. What do I do when it's on the cut? I guess I'll take, this would be, there we go. That was easy. The warrior and holy water. I guess the sun and the moon are still together. So that's this side. Now I have to find the golden shield. We just saw the golden shield before, because it was the golden shield and the archangel of glory. And the golden shield was after New World Order. Was that it? Yeah, because it was 3 and 3. So it was New World Order, Golden Shield, Archangel of Glory. And it was the Dynasty, the Chancellor, and the Archangel Commander. Interesting. So these two were right next to each other. So the golden shield is in between the Holy See and the Destroyer. And then the Archangel of Glory is right there after the Destroyer. Apocalypse. Judgment. Final judgment. Oop. Just saw the Page of Cups, but I'm not gonna do anything with it. Excuse me. On the side of the necromancer, which holds the scales, we have the sun and the Ace of Cups. We just saw the Destroyer. It was the Destroyer and the Chariot. Yeah, the Ten of Swords and the Chariot, and I just talked about it. In the Hollow Void, Moon and Cancer. Moon and Cancer is bringing this Ace of Cups closer and closer. Ace of Cups in the sun. Almost like a now you see it type energy. Or now we're feeling it. Because not only do we see the sun and see the light of the sun, but we can also feel it. So maybe Taurus season already has us either seeing or feeling the fruit of our labors, the blossoming of something, the buds of whatever this is. Then on the other side, we have the Destroyer, Ten of Swords, and the Holy See, Master of the Arcanes. Master of the Mystic Light and the Purifying is the Warrior and the Holy Water. And then we have Master of Arcanes in the Destroyer. This person in the destroyer is an acolyte of the Holy See. You see his hand right there? We see the same sign in the Holy See. It's almost like a rising of a true or high refined energy. But we also have this purifying in the Ace of Cups, the holy water, with this master of the mystic light. So maybe it is the master of whatever mystic light that is removing the corruption in high refined energy. Also, we have Sun in Gemini and Taurus. For some reason, I don't know why this was making me think of Mars. Because Mars is going to be in Gemini when that's not even Taurus season. Sun is going to be in Gemini. That's right before Cancer season. That's the tail end of Gemini season. But again, like there's just this like Gemini season energy over here on the right side of all of this. I almost want to separate these. Oh. The Ace of Cups in between the sun and the moon. The purifying. Gateway of resurrection and the master of the mystic light. These two, the master of the mystic light, the purifying and the gateway of resurrection, that feels very, very, very similar to that, the corruptor with the destroyer. The 7 of Cups, 10 of Swords, 3 of Swords, and then the rest of those cards. And then over here in the Sanctum of Splendor, there is, like, again, the Destroyer and the Holy See. It feels like that purified, hierophant energy is what has access or the right to the clearance. There we go. I was like, I mentioned the C word earlier. That purified, hierophant energy has the clearance to enter whatever the Sanctum of Splendor is. This But this is what Taurus season has been so far. The Outlaw is at the bottom of the deck, which is water, traditionally, modernly Neptune, and through association Pisces. There's more Piscean energy. We have the two majors of Pisces, or 2 out of 3 if you consider the High Priestess to also be a major of Pisces. You can see the glyph of Neptune on the chest of the Outlaw. Neptune rules Pisces. Neptune is going to be at the last degree of Pisces too. I'm sure it's going to retrograde at some point. I don't know if it's going to retrograde back into Pisces once it enters Aries, but I'm sure it will. All right. Taurus season in 3 cards. We got two. Oh my gosh. The Shining Gale, Winds of the Sylph, and the Hierophant, Master of the Arcanes. I feel like we've seen this card too. The Shining Gale has been coming out quite frequently lately. And that's the mastered teaching. That's the thesis, defense. That could be the student of the Archangel of Glory having completed his training and proven that he is responsible enough to wield whatever. And it's like through that like thesis defense, you must present some kind of research and then you graduate with like a PhD. And then we got this like new Hierophant type energy. Now I don't even have to pull before and after because this is immediately like this goes like it feels like it goes right here. Ten of Swords, Knight of Swords. So if we have witnessed the beginning of the collapse of something, or some kind of system is maybe falling apart, or some kind of stability is starting to be busted up. It's like Taurus season is going to see some kind of successor or next energy. Also, we have Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus. So maybe when Jupiter leaves Taurus and enters Gemini, it will almost like settle things down enough for building to start. Because in my mind, it's like, I guess it's like DNA replication. In my mind, it's like there is some whole thing and you have to like break it apart. But when you break it apart, each individual part like regenerates. So like in the healing, they grow into two separate whatevers. And the easiest, quickest thing my brain has to that is DNA replication. Excuse me. Or just like DNA translation or whatever in general. It's like when you break the strands apart and you build the complementary strand. So DNA is anti-parallel, but it's only read in one direction. So on one strand, you're going to be able to read it the whole way through and just continue to build on it. On the other strand, because it's only read in one direction, what happens is it'll build like a little bit and then like skip and build a little bit. It's like you get a window of enough frames that you can read, and then at the end, you just like connect all the fragments together. One piece is continuous, one piece lags. But ultimately, they both end up like whole. I'm sure I don't have to illustrate it, but I will. Okazaki fragments. And it goes a little something like this. So let's say there's this red DNA. I don't want chalk. I'll do a crayon. Oh, yeah, that's fine. So you would have this one, and then this one. Girl, I just messed up the end. No. You have that one and then this one. And then the new strands are going to be blue. So like this is one strand becoming two. So you have the original from one, and then the blue strand is the one that gets built onto it. So it's something like that. Like Uranus conjuncting Jupiter and Taurus like separate something, and then when Jupiter moves into Gemini, it's like things are going to slow down enough for both sides to begin building or whatever. Now, we've also seen the Hierophant in the Fable Maker's Tarot, and I like that one because we saw the light of the acolytes. Their bald heads were reflecting the light of the sun above the Hierophant. That's why I liked it. Oh, the Ivory Shield, Sanctum of the Immaculate is the second thing. We have the Sanctum of Splendor and the Golden Shield. And then the third thing is, I'm not surprised that the Sanctum of the Immaculate is here after this like other Hierophant energy. There's like this triquetra, Celtic Naiad. It feels like the shield is a riddle. There's the Ace of Cups that she holds behind that shield. And we just saw the Ace of Cups with the Sun, the Ace of Cups with the Warrior. As one of the things that Taurus season has already sort of initiated or started, or something that Taurus season already has underway. So again, it feels like this is further connected to that. But it could be, let's say that something isn't necessarily like symbol. Excuse me, or it's like continuously unfolding. Like it's starting to unfold. But this could be also something that like unfolds bigger and bigger and bigger. Because again, by the time we enter Gemini season, there's this like 10 of Cups, Knight of Wands energy that was started back in Aries season. Or it's like the seed was planted back in Aries season, but it's like, and then it blooms, and then we move forward with the happiness, joy, fulfillment, whatever. The third card, and look, Ace of Cups at the bottom of the deck. The Purifying, Holy Grail, Sanctum of the Immaculate. You literally see the fountain in the background. Third and final thing of Taurus season, please, or theme. The Convalescent, somewhat in reverse. Moon in Aquarius, the Rogue is at the bottom of the deck. And the Four of Swords just came out like, came out like this. Wait, this is upright. So like in reverse, Jupiter in Libra, like under this holy sea. Moon in Aquarius, upright, Jupiter in Libra, in reverse. This holy sea was right next to Sun in Gemini. Oh, I didn't even catch that. Knight of Swords, mutable air, Gemini. Gemini and Taurus. Sun and Gemini and Taurus. So Sun and Gemini with Taurus is like, this is the exposure and the initial whatever that goes down. And then again, like this is an energy of something after like after it settles down, after things calm down, as something like as the dust is settling or the rebuilding from whatever that exposure could be. And then we have the Four of Swords in reverse. Now, what's interesting is that's column world behind that angel. The golden shield is inside of column world. But this one is in reverse. So I guess this could be, so Taurus season has this energy of, again, of like things continuing to unfold, things beginning to open up. It feels like there's also this element of us knowing what to put our faith in terms of I mean, I guess it could be literally. Like maybe there's an aspect of someone's like faith or spirituality that they are getting clearer on, growing closer to God in whatever way that looks like. Or it could be like someone knows like which horse they're going to bet on in a race. Meaning like maybe your intuition and discernment is going to see you like settle on a particular path, or it's just like there's something that comes up and your intuition discernment is going to like tell you yes, like that is the whatever. And so Taurus season is going to see you like following a certain direction or building in a certain way. There may also be things that open up to you that maybe previously weren't open to you, but that's because you are now open to them. Almost an extension of this energy. Like this was the energy in Aries season. This is almost like what it calls forward. This Ace of Cups, but then there's a whole fountain behind it. But also there is this Four of Swords in reverse, which could be like, let's say that when it was time to work, you were busy working and there were some folks or somebody who wasn't. Like the ant and the grasshoppers. The ants were stockpiling for the winter. So when winter comes, they're good. Or when it's time to like go out and do something, the ants have the resources. The grasshoppers didn't. And winter comes and they're hungry and they're not going to be able to just go and take it from the ants. That could be in a less almost extreme or in a less almost like polarized way. It could just be because again, there's this energy of like you knowing what to put your trust and faith and belief in. So you may be pursuing one particular passion or one particular avenue and like not moving forward with another. You may be like redistributing your time, energy, and attention to focus on certain things. And when you focus on some certain things, there are going to be things that fall to the wayside. Maybe your priorities are going to shift. And while your priorities are shifting, there are just going to be some things that aren't necessarily a priority anymore. Because again, it's that energy of like, you know what to put your faith and your trust and your belief in. And this is an energy that's literally not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere upright. It's not going anywhere in reverse. Bottom of the deck is the Seven of Swords, the Archangel of Glory, and the Angel. Behind the Angel is Apocalypse, and behind Apocalypse is the title card. Behind the title card is Strength, and behind Strength is the Reaper. Behind the Reaper is the Memory Keeper, and behind the Memory Keeper is the Erudite. Okay, I think we're done. And behind the Erudite is the Lovers, and then behind that is the Contender with the Emperor. I'm going to stop after the Emperor. The joined one, Two of Cups is behind the Emperor with the shining flame. Knight of Wands. That is where we will officially stop. Behind the Knight of Wands is this Ace of Pentacles. Now in the Revelations edition, we saw the Bread of Life, the deepening Ace of Pentacles in the Revelations edition. Behind that is the Corruptor and the Chariot and the Seeker. This is where we'll officially stop. The Corruptor in the Revelations edition has the Axe of Shiva. The Axe of Shiva removes corruption. With the corruption removed, any one of these, any number, with the corruption removed, with the poison removed or neutralized in the chalice, any number of these would be a safe bet. This is a lot of cards at the bottom. I'm trying to keep them in order. So it was the Rogue, the Archangel of Glory, and the Angel. Again, the Rogue, look at that shooting star. The Rogue is the card of birthright. There is the Archangel of Glory, Angel of Arts and Grace with the Angel. The Angel is the one that's held captive in the Eight of Swords. So again, it's here was the information when we didn't have it held captive. Here is the information when we do have it, connected to the Archangel of Glory. Behind that angel is Apocalypse. So again, even in a good way, it feels like whatever this is that we were in pursuit of, whatever this is that the Knight of Wands was moving forward with fulfillment at its back, this is something that comes back, that it's something that we find out. Maybe again with the Seven of Swords, maybe that it's some kind of information that was withheld for a time. Also, we saw it was the Holy See, the Archangel of Glory, the Holy See, the Golden Shield, the Archangel of Glory. And it was that energy. It's maybe the Hierophant doesn't know. But the Hierophant is well, that's restricted, top secret. Only the upper echelon of those closest to the peak of the Hierophant pyramid hierarchy know what this is. And it's a whole bunch of fuss. And it's at the end of the year, Hierophant don't necessarily know either. This is that sort of being revealed. And it's the title card, because not only is the title card with Apocalypse, the title card by itself is my Live Life and Find Out card. And it's my Live Life and Find Out card because sometimes there are things that we don't have the capacity to process. We don't know the things that we don't know. So to get Judgment with the title card, that's a whole, again, there's something almost earth-shattering about whatever this is that's going to return in Gemini season. Energetically, it may happen at whatever time it happens. But again, the angel is who is held captive. It's sepia tone for the past. When it's captive, it is full color for the present and future when it is released. Again, this is it's earth-shattering sort of energy. Then behind that, we had, I feel like I got these mixed up because I got cards on the table. The Reaper, no, behind that was Strength. And then maybe the Reaper, the Memory Keeper. Yeah, and then I saw the Erudite, or was it the Lovers and then the Erudite? And then all these cards in my hand. No. After that was the Contender, the Emperor, the Joined One, and the Shining Flame. There's our Knight of Wands again. The Knight of Wands that's connected to this Page of Pentacles, Ten of Cups, Knight of Wands, that one. So the one, we're moving forward with some kind of fulfillment, with some kind of knowing now. And then we found it even more. That's why it read Aries season, Aries season saw us complete a puzzle. But later on, we're going to find out that our completed puzzle is a piece of a greater puzzle. Like what we completed was half of the truth, and then we're going to see the other half. And if it's good, like that can make something even better. You know what I mean? Like that's when your intuition and discernment is leading you on a path that feels very like rewarding and fulfilling and like you're happy. And then you get to a certain point along that path and your happiness multiplies manyfold because of something else that happens or because of something that you find out. Now, that feels very similar to that Seven of Pentacles that came out in the Mystic Mondays, where it was like the Seven of Pentacles that was happening under moonlight. And then there's like going to be this huge opportunity related to something that someone may have been like doing on the side or whatever. So the Contender and the Emperor, like this is someone who doesn't have to compete. This is the competition for a throne. We've seen the Six of Wands, the Champion, at the bottom of the deck. In this deck, I'm pretty sure it's at the bottom of the deck. It was Jupiter in Leo, here Saturn in Leo. The Emperor doesn't have to compete. Like there is no competition. Which it is what it is. The Emperor doesn't have to compete. Now there's this Two of Cups with the Shining Flame. And again, it's speaking to this healthy energy that's around that Knight of Wands energy. Healthy, happy, fulfilled. And then after that, I'm pretty sure we got into the Force, the Reaper, the Memory Keeper, the Erudite, the Lovers. And then we have all that down there. Or was it the Reaper and then the Force? Girl, we got these cards. Now, these two together, the Force and the Reaper, I don't know if that may speak to the authority that this Emperor has, this Emperor energy. But that's the power of death and transformation. That's the power to transform oneself, to transform one's external environment. And then we have the Memory Keeper, the Erudite, and the Lovers, which again almost partnered with this Sun in Gemini, Sun in Scorpio. I feel like there's a reason why there's so much, like there's a reason why the Ten of Cups and the Two of Cups are so close to the Knight of Wands. That's someone who moves forward already fulfilled. And it feels like the power of the Force with the Reaper and the power of this air, like this is someone, the Memory Keeper, the Erudite, and the Lovers, this is someone who's capable of making good choices and good decisions. This is someone with very wise judgment that is not tied to hurt, pain, and trauma in the past, but it's also not tied to a sense of nostalgia. It doesn't make the past any better or any worse than what it was. So this isn't like, I'm going to make this choice because this happened to me in the past, or I'm going to make this choice to get closer to this thing that I had in the past. Now, the past may be a key deciding factor in some way, but it's not through a sort of attachment to it. And maybe that's why we see the Bread of Life, the Corruptor, and the Chariot now. Because before all of this, it feels like there was some kind of attachment to the past associated with this Hierophant energy that Taurus is like beginning to move on, beginning to purify in whatever way. Once that's purified, once that's taken care of, again, it's like someone will have the bandwidth, the capacity, and the clarity to make a choice and decision that involves the past, in a way that is not dictated by it. And again, it feels like that may be a different, it feels like it's linked, but it may be like different to whatever this is that is going to resurface at some point someday. So there you go. My throat is like little dry. Let me make sure. Oh, card backs easier. Yep, there we go. I mean, the card fronts are also pretty easy, but this gonna get a lot of shuffles. Lots of shuffles. Is it at the bottom of the deck? Nope. Lots of shuffles. Lots of shuffles. Oops. The Dynasty again with the title card at the top of the deck and the Blind Seer at the bottom of the deck. I love these two together. The Ebony Shield and the Hollow Void. The Reaper, the Sharpshooter. The Blind Seer, and the Ebony Shield. Love these two. Okay. So the top of the deck is the title card, Live Life and Find Out. I love these two together. The Two of Swords, Blind Seer, Moon in Libra. This is my Moon is in Libra. Jupiter was in Libra in reverse. The Two of Swords is my minor High Priestess card. The Queen of Cups is pre-High Priestess, and then the High Priestess is the High Priestess. And it's my minor High Priestess card because sometimes it's the Two of Swords, more often than not for me, is a card that comes out when we need to listen to our intuition. Because there is we may struggle to make a decision in our lives. It's a card of indecisiveness or being at an impasse just generally. The perched bird, not lost on me, especially with the bird being the thing that arouses this angel from her slumber. So the bird is our intuition discernment. The bird is connected to our intuition discernment because it's at rest here in the Two of Swords. But anyway, the Two of Swords is a card of impasse and indecision. But sometimes it's not for us to make a choice. Maybe we don't have enough information. Maybe we don't have enough time. Or maybe we don't have enough information. Maybe it's not yet the time to make a certain choice. Our intuition and discernment, it's almost like sometimes it may go quiet. This is conjecture. Potentially, maybe sometimes our intuition or discernment goes quiet because it isn't yet time to give us any information about whatever it is that we are concerned with or asking about, especially if it's not pressing. But the Two of Swords is like, we don't make a choice or decision because our intuition or discernment is telling us not to. And so to see that with the title card, what I love about this is this is someone who can allow a mystery to be a mystery. Or someone who can allow, again, that's my card of Live Life and Find Out. Someone is just okay, my intuition isn't telling me that it's go time. The divine isn't telling me to move, so I'm not going to move. And if I look like or feel like I'm at an impasse, or if I look or feel like I'm indecisive or I don't know what's going on, that's fine. And the Ebony Shield, she's the sanctum of treasure. And her shield is down. The Ebony Shield in the SKT is a temptress. So she comes in and she tempts us with things because it's almost like if we're only after money, or if we're only after something that is more like carnal or base, that's fine. But there are certain things that maybe we shouldn't like do if that's our only concern. For example, like healthcare, you know, like, or just like taking care of people. Like, if you're only concerned with money, then like, what about the people who need care, help, or assistance that don't have it? Now it's this, like, you know what I mean? So, like, let's consider it like a healthcare field, and someone, and like, you can be about money and like have a good heart. Like, I'm not talking about like someone who like has a good heart, but also like wants money or needs money. I'm talking about like a Scrooge, like a bah humbug type person, right? Like a, please, it's Christmas, and Tiny Tim is so tiny, and like I told him I would be home for Christmas. Like, I'm talking about the Scrooge McDuck that's like, I don't care about Tim. You're on my payroll, and if you want a job, you'll stay and you'll work. Tim had last Christmas. Well, Tim didn't have last Christmas because you're stuck at work too. Uh, it's not like someone who like doesn't like, this is a person who is only concerned for money and who has no consideration for people, where it's like, oh well, if you can't afford it, it sucks to suck, I guess you're just gonna have to die then, type of energy. So what the ebony shield will do is she'll come in and she'll just offer somebody like money, or offer them like another whatever. Like, if all you're concerned of, or if all you're concerned with is this other thing, take the other thing. Because like the archangel or the ebony shield cares about people in this metaphor, and wants someone who cares about people to be in that position of caring for people and caring about people. So it kind of roots out those with misaligned intentions. I won't say ill intentions, but I will say misaligned intentions, because it's not about the money, it's about helping people. Or it's not about this, it's about that type energy. But here she is. The blind seer is the one who waits. The blind seer is the one who doesn't give in to the temptation of the ebony shield. And because that, she's awarded with access to the sanctum of treasures. And then we have the dynasty, the 10 of pentacles, 10 of orbs under that. So again, oh, and then under that is the hollow void. Again, with the reaper. Cool. Like, there's a difference between like, I love helping people, but also I got bills to pay and I need to eat. And I don't care about people. This job just pays money. This, like, it pays well, and that's what I want. So if you can't afford it, sorry, sucks to suck. There's a free clinic down the street. And like, please, like, my wife isn't gonna make it down the street. And you're like, oh, sorry. Guess you should have thought about that before you got sick or whatever. I'm sure y'all get the point. But that's what the ebony shield does sometimes. That's how she protects the King of Pentacles, Archangel of Earth. Can I interest you in a more lucrative opportunity? Like, oh my gosh, yes, of course. More lucrative, say less. All right, SKT Vitruvian, final card. Just doing it for the right reasons, I guess. She ensures that people do it for the right reasons. So it could be a test of character, a test of our ethics, a test of morality. It could be a test of our knowledge or skills or abilities to see if we're the right fit. Again, it's not necessarily, it's just like making sure that we get what we want. and making sure that others get, like, making sure we get what we want and that others get what they need type of energy. And it's finding the alignment between those. Cool. Guess who just came out? Guess the first card that hit the table. I'll give you 3 seconds. If you want longer than 3 seconds, either I'm going to keep talking longer than 3 seconds for 1, or you can pause the video for 2. The Blind Seer. Again, Moon in Libra, 2 of Swords. The second card that fell out is the Archangel of Healing, angel who salves and purifies. Again, this is, I feel like that's connected. Bottom of the deck is the 2 of Cups, the joined one, 2 of Chalices. I feel like this came out earlier. It might have been around that Hierophant. Or it could have been around that Knight of Wands. Like, this Blind Seer with the Archangel of Healing, maybe we haven't, it's not that we filled enough. This is also the energy. It was the Memory Keeper, the Erudite, the Lovers, and whatever card was before the Death. I think it was the Reaper, the Memory Keeper, the Erudite, and the Lovers. Whatever that card was, where it was like making a choice or decision about the past, or making a choice or decision related to the past in some way with no attachment towards it. We're like healing, or we're going through some kind of expansive experience in this 2 of Swords and the Vitruvian. And that's why we wait. That's why we don't move forward, or that's why we didn't move forward. That's why we waited. That's why our intuition and our discernment and the divine didn't tell us to go at whatever time we thought we wanted to. And maybe it's because there was still something within us that would have sabotaged, or that would have not been the right fit for whatever this is related to. Maybe there was still yet more that we needed to do within self, but maybe we didn't know that we needed to do it. Maybe we didn't see that we needed to do it. Maybe it just hadn't come up yet. But because it's the Angel of Healing, the angel who salves and purifies, it feels like it's related to some kind of healing, mending, or satiating. And satiating in a way of like, maybe we don't completely get over something, but we get to the point where it doesn't make our choices and decisions for us. Maybe we're still impacted by something. But again, like, we're not so impacted that we're incapable of making a certain choice or decision when we need to. Also, it's not lost on me. This is the angel who purifies, angel who salves and purifies. And we've seen the Ace of Cups, the purifying, twice. We also saw the corrector in the Revelations edition, the 7 of Cups. Was it the 7 of Cups? Yeah. The 7 of Cups. No, that was different. Wasn't it? The 7 of Cups was in a different position than the Memory Keeper, the 6 of Cups, the Erudite, and the Lovers. But in that corruptor, there was the axe of Shiva that removes corruption, and the mirror to the axe. So it removes corruption. Like, it's an axe that removes corruption, but sometimes we must direct the axe at self before we direct it at the environment. Sometimes we must first pursue the removal of the corruption internally before we can further our pursuit of the removal of corruption externally. Or sometimes we have to remove corruption internally to be able to recognize externally that which is for us, and that which will sort of perpetuate things that we've already been through, witness, experience, that we don't want anymore. But that's what the purpose of the standstill was, to allow some of that healing or salving to take place. Cool. So we have reached the end of another video. I have, like I said, one more pack of these cards left. That's empty. One more pack of these left, unopened. I know what I want to do. I know how I wanted to read all that Cancerian energy. Excuse me, I may not because of this. I don't know if it necessarily came out. And then also, I have an idea to use the Angelarium cards and the Mausolea Oracle of Souls. Angelarium, at least the Angelarium Oracle of the Fallen has domains. Angelarium Oracle of Emanations has signs. But the Mausolea Oracle of Souls also has domains. So I was going to see, like, between these two domains of this angel and this Oracle of the Soul, Mausolea, whatever. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. That 2 hours felt like it was like 5. But anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey in the way you find. And I hope that you keep well until next we meet across paths.